people could come in and take a seat, I'm going to call the Town of Wareham Annual Town Meeting, April 27, 2026. It is 7:10 p.m. at the Wareham High School, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just a cautionary note, if folks could remember to silence their cell phones or put them on whatever setting so that you're not disturbing your neighbors. And I will waive the reading of the warrant, and I will ask that the town clerk confirm that the warrant for the annual town meeting has been duly posted and served per the return of service of the constable.
Yes, ma'am.
And she has confirmed that. So I would ask, first, I note that we have the presence of a quorum. We actually have a 0 quorum, so there's certainly more than 0 people here. I'd like you to stand, if you are able, for the presentation of the colors by the Wareham High School Junior ROTC and the Wareham Minutemen and Militia Company, and for the Pledge of Allegiance after the presentation of the colors.
Carry colors. Right face. Forward march. March on, march. Forward, halt. Left face. Present arms.
Howie Smith is going to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd also ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence for former town officials and employees of the town of Wareham who passed during the past year. Richard, you probably knew him as Smitty J. Smith. He was a longtime town meeting teller. Dr. Clifford Wayne Sylvia, Wareham Public Schools. Donald Donnie Lake Jr., Wareham Police Department and Municipal Maintenance, and Brenda Fargo Ekstrom, a 2-term member of our select board. So if we could have a moment of silence for these people. Thank you. You may be seated. The one with the pine tree? Yeah.
wish that were our state flag.
Didn't Vermont grab that one? No, they didn't?
Right face. Pose.
I forget what that is. This one was really like this.
Present arms. Order arms. Left face. Forward march.
And may I have a round of applause for our Wareham Junior ROTC and Wareham Minutemen and Militia Company. Before we get started with the articles, I just want to go through what I'll generally call the ground rules for the town meeting. This town meeting shall be governed by Massachusetts general laws, our bylaws, Robert's Rules of Order, and town meeting time to the extent that they conform to the conditions of the town, tradition, and my rulings. I just want to go over, it looks like people have pretty much sorted themselves out, but just go over a couple of things as to where people are seated. So down here to my left in the lower front are folks that I assume are going to be speaking who are not Wareham registered voters. So if you're not a Wareham registered voter, that is where you should be seated. Over on the far right, in the front and the far right, are our town employees and administrators. There are some emergency exits in this room. There's one in the back up where the slide projector thing is. There are two to either side here and then two behind the stage. I'm required by our charter to do a roll call of the departments, so that is what I'm going to do. Administration.
Here.
Finance Department.
Here.
Police and Public Safety. Human Resources. Health Department. Library. Town Clerk. Municipal Maintenance. Planning and Economic Development. Council on Aging. Sewer Department. School Department. Emergency Management. Up here on the stage, we have the Finance Committee and the Select Board. So starting with the Select Board, I would ask the Chair, Judith Whiteside of the Select Board, to introduce her board.
Thank you. Before I do that, I just want to say that we all know that this has been an extremely difficult budget year, and it's taken a great deal of consideration and cooperation between Mr. Sullivan and all department heads. Knowing that the town must live within its means, it took a great deal of thought and some very tough decisions before Mr. Sullivan was able to come up with the budget he will present tonight. And for those of us like me, there are no cuts to the library or the Council on Aging. So I just want you all to know that. To my right is Sarah Corbett, clerk, then Jared Chadwick, Joe Still, and Marcus Gomes.
So I'm sorry?
Thank you, Madam. To my far right is Bernie Pigeon, Jerry Stefanski, which I might add, this is his 9th year and his final year. We need a member. Alan Slavin, clerk. To my left is Heidi Churchill, and Brianna King, vice chair, and I'm Jody Smith, chair.
Thank you. A couple of other things. So if you wish to speak, there's 2 microphones here sort of in this middle aisle. Come up and line up at the microphone. If you are unable to come up and line up at the microphone, please get the attention of one of the tellers who, if you could just raise your hand or stand up so they know who you are. Get one of the tellers' attention, and they'll bring a microphone over to you. So after you line up at the microphones, you speak only when I recognize you and give you the floor. And if you could state your name clearly and your address if you wish. By tradition, in this town, debate will be limited to 5 minutes for the petitioner to speak, pardon me, and 2 minutes each for all subsequent speakers. I would ask that you please treat the other voters and guest speakers with respect and courtesy, such that you would expect for yourself. We are here to debate the issues before the meeting. This is a very deliberative legislative body, and I like to think that the town and all the other towns actually that have this form of town meeting government are really the roots of our democracy. So why don't we treat each other with respect and this proceedings with respect. You have with you, I hope, in front of you, which should have been handed to you when you checked in, a document that says the Finance Committee report. And in that document, you'll see all the articles that will come before us, they're replicated exactly as they were in the warrant that was published. Below that, you'll see a recommendation and explanation of typically of the Finance Committee, but of any other relevant parties. So while we're going through the articles, keep that in mind. We have a lottery system. I think that most of you are probably familiar with this, but basically the articles are done by lottery, so that's the order that they will go in, not the order necessarily that they appear in the Finance Committee report. There are a couple of exceptions that I have to that. We will have, in both this annual meeting and the special town meeting, so-called consent agenda, and we have, after some discussion, included in the consent agenda items which typically have just not been controversial. However, once the motion is presented, I'll read the titles and the name of the article number, and if anyone would like to have them taken up separately, simply call out hold. We'll remove that from the consent agenda, and that particular article will come up in the lottery system. So, that being said, we'll proceed to a motion on the consent agenda. Is there such a motion?
I motion the consent agenda. I motion that the town vote to approve Article 1, election of officers, Article 2, recurring business, Article 4, FY27 revolving funds, Article 11, rescind prior year bond authorizations, Article 12, community preservation fund reserves, and further that the town vote to refer Article 19, zoning bylaw change, Section 950, off-site parking to the planning board for further study with appropriate action to take place at next town meeting, and further that the town pass over Article 6, the capital plan.
Is there a second on that motion? Motion made and seconded on the consent agenda. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommends favorable action 500
And
on
may I
all
have,
the articles.
Oops, I'm sorry. And may I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
So let me just go through the various articles that are on the consent agenda. Again, if anyone wishes to have those taken up separately, please simply call out hold. Article 1, election of officers. Article 2, recurring business. Article 4, FY27 revolving funds. Article 11, rescind prior year bond authorizations. Article 12, community preservation fund reserves. Article 19, zoning bylaw change, Section 950. Article 6, capital plan. Seeing no one rise and calling a hold on any items on the consent agenda, we'll proceed to a vote on the motion under the consent agenda. A majority vote is required to pass these. All those in favor of the motion under the consent agenda, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It's passed unanimously on a voice vote. The next article that we will be taking up will be Article 9. That's the Upper Cape Folk Tech article that is actually being taken out of order, but I'm doing this as a courtesy, and I hope you'll agree, because the superintendent for Upper Cape Folk Tech, Mr. Forget, is here, and I think he has to go to another 5 or 6 of these. Maybe not this evening, but it's a lot of evening meetings. So, may I have a motion under Article 9?
Article 9, Upper Cape Cod Regional Technical School. I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $3,973,330 as its share of the operating and capital costs of the Upper Cape Cod Regional Technical School District for the fiscal year 2027, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 9. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anything to be said under the motion on Article 9? Mr. Forget, did you wish to address the meeting?
No, I'm happy to answer any questions, Madam Moderator, and certainly I can make a comment after the vote.
I see no one else standing to be heard, so we'll go to a vote on the motion on Article 9. This requires a majority vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article 9, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by majority voice vote. Did you still wish to have the floor, sir?
Yes, if I could, Madam Moderator. So, Madam Moderator, Select Board members, Finance Committee members, and families of the town of Wareham, the wonderful town of Wareham, Upper Cape Tech truly appreciates the relationship we have with the town, both with its department, both of the boards, and extremely with our relationship with the town administrator in working collaboratively for all of our students and the betterment of our students. We are happy and proud of all of the work that we do with the town, and we look forward to continuing this relationship. Thank you so, so much. And I appreciate you taking me out of order because, yes, I have many.
Thank you for being here. The next article is Article 3. And before we take a motion on Article 3, because that's the per diem for the town moderator, I'm going to have our Deputy Moderator, Claire Smith, handle this particular article.
Thank you. Article 3. Article 3 is the compensation of certain appointed and elected officials. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the town vote to approve $150 per diem for the town moderator.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May I have the report and recommendation from the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action 500.
And may I have the recommendation and report from the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Thank you. Is there anything to be said on Article 3? Seeing no one standing, I will call for a vote. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. The motion passes unanimously, majority vote. Thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye.
Is there anyone opposed to Article 3? Hearing no one? Thank you. You get out of practice when you don't do this often. Thank you.
Though I have to say it's nice having someone that has had experience as a moderator herself to just step in and stand in when needed. It's much appreciated. So the special town meeting actually is noticed for 7:30, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn the annual town meeting to
Recess.
to recess the annual town meeting till the conclusion of the special town meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second? Did someone second that?
Ellen did.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? State nay. It passes by voice vote majority.
I'm tired.
Bear with me a moment. So I note the hour is 7:30. I will call the special town meeting of the town of Wareham here at the Wareham High School to order. I waive the reading of the warrant and again ask the town clerk to confirm that the warrant for the special town meeting was duly posted and served per the return of service of the constable. And she has confirmed that. We have the same system in terms of the lottery, so let me just find out what the first article is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that would be a good idea. So we'll proceed again, as we did under the annual town meeting, with the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that the town vote to approve Article S2, Fund Parking Program by transferring $130,000 from onset receipts reserved for appropriation account. Article Special Number 6, PEG access receipts to Wareham Community TV as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article Special 8, transfer of McKinney-Vento funds to Transportation Revolving Account as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article Special 9, adoption of Mass General Law, Chapter 59(5) is printed in the Finance Committee report. Article Special 11, return unused funds from completed projects as printed in the Finance Committee report. And further, to pass over Article S1, budget transfers, and Article S5, prior year bills.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on the consent agenda for the special town meeting. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
And as I did under the annual town meeting, I will go through the various articles on the consent agenda. If anyone wishes to have any of these articles taken up separately outside the consent agenda, please signify by simply calling out hold. Article S2, Fund Parking Program by transferring $130,000 from the onset receipts reserved for appropriation account. Article S6, PEG access receipts to Wareham Community TV as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article S8, transfer McKinney-Vento funds to Transportation Revolving Account as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article S9, adoption of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5 as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article S11, return unused funds from completed projects as printed in the Finance Committee report. And further, Article S1, budget transfers, and Article S5, prior year bills. I did not hear anyone calling out a hold, so we'll proceed to a vote on the motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It's passed by voice vote unanimously. Article S16. Do I have a motion on Article S16?
Transfer of retained earnings to fund sewer capital stabilization fund. I move that the town vote to transfer $1,500,000 from certified retained earnings to the sewer capital stabilization fund.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S16. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action 500.
And may I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak to Article S16? Seeing no one standing that wishes to be heard, we'll proceed to a vote on the motion under Article S16, which requires a majority vote. So all those in favor of the motion under Article S16, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a majority voice vote. Article S3. Article S3, Spring 2026 Capital. Is there a motion on Article S3?
I move that the town transfer the sum of $2,845,000 from certified free cash to fund the capital items as listed below. Department is the IT department, virtual and network server refresh, including maintenance, security, wireless, telephone, billboard, trailers. Cost is $395,000, and the source is free cash. Second, IT department for, network replacement and maintenance. Cost is $390,000, source is free cash. Police department, body cameras, 5-year program, all costs $250,000, source is free cash. Police department vehicles, $175,000, source is free cash. Municipal maintenance, Fairing Hill Bridge, $1,500,000, source is free cash. Municipal maintenance small vehicle, $35,000, free cash. Wareham Public Schools, high school external door replacement, $100,000, and the source is free cash.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S3. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 501.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S3?
Thank you. I just want to do a brief explanation.
Yes, please, Mr. Sullivan.
Let you know, in your in the administration handout, there's some glossary terms. One of them is free cash. Free cash gets certified by the Division of Local Services by the Department of Revenue. It does not carry over from year to year. We don't have access to it until it's certified. What those funds are is all your costs, so all your expenses, and all your revenues at the end of the year, your balances, free cash. We had certified by the Division of Local Services, $8,051,253. That sounds great until you realize what we've been doing is, in the past, we'd always rolled over $1 million from one year to the next. You always have some funds then. Last year, because we started seeing the tightening, we rolled over $2 million. So this is technically less money than we've had before. And as we budget more of our receipts and expenses and things get tighter, that will reduce. We use our free cash for one-time items such as capital, putting them into stabilization funds. We don't use them for operating. That is a big no by from the Commonwealth. So if this were to pass with these items, we would have $5,206,253 left of certified free cash. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S3? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S3. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a majority voice vote. Article S4. Article S4, transfers of available funds. Is there a motion under Article S4?
I move that the town, I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $3,200,000 from certified free cash as listed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded under Article S4. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action, 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action, 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S4?
Thank you. In the the warrant, the Finance Committee report, the information is in there. We have Capital Stabilization Fund. We just did one earlier. That was for the Sewer Enterprise Fund, which is different than the general fund, which is why you'd actually see it says general fund. Snow and ice deficit. I think we all realize we experienced a pretty rough storm this year, and it was a tough winter. We budget around $350,000, $360,000 a year. This is the only budget we're allowed to legally go deficit in. You just have to raise it a little bit every year. So we're transferring $600,000 because those storms cost us almost $1 million this year. So it's a substantial cost. And as you understand, there were some rumors we ran out of money and just stopped plowing. You never run out of money on snow and ice or an emergency. It's not a consideration. OPEB Trust Fund. OPEB is other post-employment benefits. So it's separate than the retirement. It is health insurance and some of the small life insurance. The town's OPEB liability through the new, well, not necessarily new anymore, but the GASB, which is Governmental Accounting Standards, requires us to basically fund what we have for obligation for everybody over the next 40 years. That's every employee, everybody over the next 40 years. That liability is over $110 million. It's interesting, I think, that we would get there, but we have to put those funds away. It is what helps us get our bond rating, which is what helps us keep our costs lower, especially for borrowing. OPEB Trust Fund, we operate through the Plymouth County OPEB Trust Fund. It has been great to us. The returns over the last few years are the one-year returns, 18.21%, 5-year are 8.67%. And if you are a conservative investor, you will look at this one. It is the 10-year is at 10.9%. So it's been an excellent return to us. If this transfer goes through, we would have $4,874,203.33. Collective bargaining reserve for the transfer, that's when we set monies aside for collective bargaining. Sometimes the agreements come after a town meeting budget has already been set, so we like to have that reserve there as a just in case. We have two outstanding on the town side for collective bargaining. That is the sergeants and the lieutenants, so superior officers that would be due. Our contracts have to go to town meeting for approval, though. Insurance deductible reserve. We've looked at our deductibles. We've raised them a little bit to try and save some money off of our liability costs. However, if we're just charging back to the departments, it doesn't help our budget at all. So we've done this with unemployment, costs. So we're doing this with the insurance deductible as well. That way, we're not budgeting for something we may not expend. We'll have the money set aside. In a bad year, it's there. In a good year, we don't have to worry about it. Stabilization fund, our stabilization fund would be, if this transfer went through, at $5,712,091.48. This is another thing that is very good for us to have to show that we are budgeting and working in a proper manner, which gives us our good, the bond rating. So this is a very important one to have, and we have utilized this. We can borrow against it sometimes, and so it's offset borrowing costs. We've also, when COVID hit, we did not know what was going to happen with state aid, and we budgeted $600,000 out of it, and when we got our full state aid, we put it right back in. It is a great reserve to have. Benefits reserve, that is for when we have retiring employees, they're due certain things. Here's what we used to do. If somebody was retiring, they were a longtime employee, and we're due a payout of benefits, we didn't fill the spot. So think about it, department heads, other things, not filling it because you didn't have the money to do it. When realistically, like any business, you want to hire somebody ahead of time so there's a smooth transition. And this is what helps us do that. Matching grant funds. Sometimes grants come along mid-year. Sometimes they come, we can only do this town meeting, you can do it more, but realistically it's set twice a year. So we put these funds aside, so when we submit for grants, if they don't follow our budget cycle, we're able to get them and not losing opportunities. So this has been very helpful. I appreciate all help from the department heads, the finance committee, and the select board, especially you that made this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S4? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S4, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote unanimously. Article S13. Just go with that?
Yeah, we'd like to take 12 out of there.
Okay. Well,
12, 13.
12, 13.
14.
Do you need the retained earnings transfer, or do you don't? Can that be after?
No, that would be the second.
Yeah.
So it should go 12,
12, 13.
14.
Okay, all right. So this particular article has to do with the water pollution control facility. 4 of these articles are basically related, so I'm going to exercise my judgment here to take Article 12, 13, 14, and 15 now rather than put them all through the lottery system. I think it makes it a little easier to follow. So if we could have Article S12, please. Is there a motion under Article S12, rescind Article 19, 2022 Fall Town Meeting?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S12. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted to recommend favorable action, 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action, 600.
So is there anyone to speak to the article? Mr. Sullivan, will you be speaking, or will the...
Mr. Cransell.
Okay. If you could just identify yourself and your job title, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, hi, I'm Scott Crahansel. I'm the Water Pollution Control Facility Director. We're rescinding this article because originally when I first got here, it was the $6 million was slated to line a force main going up Minot Road from the Narrows lift station through an 18-inch force main that goes all the way up past the high school, past the elementary school on Minot Road, and then under the river all the way to the wastewater plant. The original plan called for a balloon-type liner that required internal pressure to keep it, to keep it inflated. And the pump station obviously doesn't pump nonstop; it pumps on and off, and it has a cycle that goes down the hill. It would actually create a negative pressure and shrink the balloon. Really wouldn't have worked that great. So we called that one off, and not to skip ahead, but Article 13 has a better plan, which will benefit the town now with the requirement to fix the force main and give us the flexibility for something in the future, which is a lot of excitement in the future. But it's a much better, and although more expensive, economically sound plan. So that is what we're doing.
Thank you. And gentleman to my left, do you wish to speak on the motion under Article S12?
Not under this article, Madam Moderator, under S13.
Okay, so right now we're on we're on S12, but I'll keep that in mind. The gentleman behind you, did you wish to speak to Article?
Both of them are with me, actually.
Well, I see. So you have both microphones. In any event, is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S12? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S12, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by unanimous voice vote. Article S13. Is there a motion under Article S13?
I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer, upon approval of the select board, to borrow the sum of $26 million at one time or from time to time under and pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority, and to appropriate said sum for the purpose of all costs incidental and related to the construction and installation of a force main sewer line from in and around the Narrows Pump Station to the Water Pollution Control Facility along Sandwich Road, connection of the existing Indian Neck Pump Station to the new force main, and to redirect the sewer flow from Minot Ave to the Indian Neck Pump Station through a new gravity and low-pressure system, and further that the treasurer, with approval of the select board, is authorized to borrow all or a portion of such amount from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust established pursuant to Chapter 29C, and in connection therewith to enter into a financing agreement with the trust and the Department of Environmental Protection with respect to such loan, and for any federal or state aid available for the project or financing thereof, and that the select board is authorized to enter into a project regulatory agreement with the Department of Environmental Protection to expend all funds available incidental and related to the project.
Second.
Motion made and seconded under Article S13. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted recommending favorable action, 500.
And may I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action, 601.
And anticipating this, this is a borrowing article, so it will require a two-thirds vote. Do you wish to speak on this Article 13, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to request that two people from outside the town, they are the engineers of this project, be allowed to speak on behalf of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, and again, Scott Crahansel, Water Pollution Control Director. Again, this article is wildly important. We have to fix the force main, just to give a quick interlude, but we have to fix the force main, period. The cost to go up Sandwich Road, which provides additional flexibility in the future, is the same cost to replace the force main on Minot. However, as we're going to see in the presentation, there's a lot of benefit to what we are proposing. And it really came out nice. I'm pretty excited about it, so go ahead.
Great.
So you've asked the courtesy of the floor for the engineers from Weston and Sampson, so I think that would be helpful to the voters to hear from you. So unless I hear an objection, I will allow you to proceed. I don't hear any objection. Please.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and just introduce myself. My name is Russ Kleekamp. I'm with the firm Environmental Design and Research. We're the little tiny logo on the bottom right corner down there. But with me tonight is also John Potts, an engineer with Weston and Sampson. And we're here tonight to talk about the Wareham Narrows Sewer Pump Station Force Main Improvements Project. Just to familiarize everybody with what is the Narrows Pump Station, where is it? Well, it's on the bottom of that photograph. It's the small brick building. It's a rather unassuming building that's behind the Speedway. It's located on Merchants Way. And it's also the town's largest sewer pump station. What's attached to that is the town's largest sewer force main. It's an 18-inch diameter sewer force main. It was constructed roughly 50-plus years ago, cast iron and material. It's starting to deteriorate. And before I take too much of John's time, I was going to let him run through the next couple slides, and then I'll be back to talk about what is this going to cost. I'm sure that's a hot topic.
Excuse me, Madam Moderator. Could you please ask the speaker to speak directly into the mic?
I'm sorry, Madam Moderator.
Oh, okay. Thank
better.
Thank you for the heads up. That's better.
Very quick recap. Narrows Pump Station, small brick building behind Merchants Way, or behind Speedway on Merchants Way. It's an older force main. It's starting to deteriorate. So I'm going to ask John, that's with me tonight, to run through the next couple slides.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be here. As you can see on this slide, the Narrows Pump Station.
And your name is?
My name is John Potts with Weston and Sampson Engineers.
Thank you.
The Narrows Pump Station conveys wastewater along Narrows Road and Minot Avenue to the treatment plant. It pumps approximately 900 gallons a minute. It's an 18-inch force main. It's the largest force main in town. And it also has 9 properties along Narrows and Minot that are connected to the force main directly. And it is one of the most critical components in the existing town's infrastructure. Next slide, please. As shown here, over half the town's sewer users currently flows to the Narrows Pump Station. There's some key properties with the town offices, the Toby Hospital, the schools, the fire department, the police department, all flow directly to the Narrows Pump Station and through the existing force main. There's also the industrial area and numerous businesses along the way as well. And as you'll see, and we'll talk about this a little later, there's 2 yellow areas on that map that are future needs areas that could also flow directly in our tributary to the Narrows Pump Station. Currently, the existing force main is in poor condition. It's over 50 years old. It has wall thickness losses of up to 48% in some spots. There's internal corrosion, and plain and simple, the consequence of failure is very significant. A force main break nearby in Plymouth resulted in a $48 million repair. There's a little arrow under the picture if you want to hit the play. What you're seeing, we all saw in the news, this was a sewer collapse in Washington, D.C. that discharged wastewater flowing into the Potomac River, and the cost of that is immeasurable right now. You also, in Wareham itself, you had the Thatcher Lane force main break a year or so ago, and I don't know if you saw walking on the way in, but Scott had a pipe near his truck that showed the corrosion failure of an existing pipe in town. The key component that's similar to all of these failures is the age in the materials of the pipes. They're all older pipes and all susceptible to corrosion. Next slide, please. So this is the reason we're here tonight. The town wants to be proactive rather than reactive. So we've established a three-phase project. We're going to, under phase one, we'd install a new force main along Sandwich Road, Route 6 through Tony's Lane. That will be an 18-inch plastic force main, not metal, that would convey the wastewater. The key advantage of that is the existing force main can stay in operation while we install this one, so the costliness of bypass pumping of the pump station will not be necessary.
Just to jump in, John, in the original project, $2 million of the $6 million was just for bypass piping that was going to be thrown away at the end of the project. So, go ahead.
Under phase two, as I said on the previous slide, there are 9 properties that are connected to the existing force main. Under phase two, the Indian Neck pump station will be redirected back down Narrows Road to the new force main in Route 6, and the 2 properties will be reconnected to the existing sewer nearby. And under phase 3, we'll install a gravity sewer and a low pressure sewer that will flow back along Minot to the Indian Neck pump station, starting around the school area. And what that will do, it will open up properties along Minot that aren't currently developed, can connect to the sewer. We'll leave stubs for all those properties. And by the end of all phase 3s, there will be no remaining flow going through the existing force main now. And then that existing force main could be rehabilitated for another use by the town. Next slide.
So as John was mentioning, there's some areas in the future that the town will be looking to sewer, and this is in the future, but obviously when we perform an infrastructure project of this magnitude, we want to make sure that we're strategically thinking about the placement of pipes and where we're putting them. So under this design, the proposed force main going up Sandwich Road, we're also going to install stubs at Santos Drive, which will allow for the areas in purple to connect. And then likewise, the areas in yellow will be tied directly into the Narrows force main. So the town's biggest pump station will continue to get bigger, which speaks to the criticality of the conveyance through the force main. Next slide, please. So the total costs. The total cost for all 3 phases of work is $26 million. That's broken up between phase 1, that's estimated at $16.5 million. Phase 2, estimated at $3.5 million. Phase 3, that's estimated at $6 million. There are benefits with putting out a larger project. For example, if we go after these 3 phases, that means it's more pipe, it's more material. When the contractors bid it, there is an economy of scale, so there's a savings there. With a project of this size, it will be very attractive to bidders. Your neighboring towns all over Cape Cod are undertaking major sewer projects right now, and it's got the attention of a lot of general contractors that do this type of work. So one of the ways that we try to keep costs as low as possible is to advertise this, get the most amount of bidders as possible, because it means the bidders will be very competitive when they know there's a very active field. Next slide, please. And the sources of funding, how are we going to pay for this? So, of course, the first thing we do is look at any potential grants that are out there that can help offset the costing. But the real way that the towns finance these large infrastructure projects, as written in the language in the article, is through the Clean Water Trust. And that's what's referred to as the State Revolving Fund, the SRF program. If you think of it like a large bank, what this bank does is it offers sums of money to municipalities for infrastructure projects for either 20 or 30 years at anywhere from 0 to 3% interest. So anyone who's familiar with tax and interest, 3% interest on $26 million is a lot of money over 20 or 30 years. It's significant. If we do all 3 phases at once, this becomes much more attractive for 0% financing. One of the requirements for 0% financing is that the project has to be a nutrient removal project. So by doing all 3 of these steps, we are abandoning the existing force main that's used now that can be used for a later project. So this is really one of the biggest advantages of why we put all three of these phases, because we can potentially seek that 0% financing. The other sources of funding is the town, the sewer department will look at their retained earnings and stabilization fund, but ultimately, some of the funding, it will be from the ratepayers. We can't say it with a straight face. It's not going to cost anybody anything. The exact fee is to be determined, and that's based on the final bid costs, what grants we get, what type of loan forgiveness we get. But right now, we're estimating the cost annually per sewer user within a range of $125 to $200. I know that's not a small amount. I know that's not pocket change. But we also know that the existing pipe, 18-inch diameter, largest force main, 48% metal loss. And that's when it was tested 6 years ago? 6 years ago. So we know that pipe is going down. It's happened already within town at the Thatcher force main. It's happened in our neighboring towns. So the cost of being reactive for this will be more than the cost of proactive. So I think we'll wrap up the slide there. I believe this was the last slide, and we're happy to help answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S13? If we could have the motion back up there. Oh, I'm sorry. If we could have the motion back up there, that might be helpful. Be right with you. Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum.
Yeah, Peter Titlebaum, Precinct 3. Question. Article S14 also asks for a substantial amount of money. What is the relationship between these two articles, and what do they provide together?
Yes, sir.
Hey, quiet. It's a direct relation. So, again, the idea behind this was to get the larger sum. I want to skip ahead to what it means for Phase 3 to be completed and the old force main to be reused for a new purpose. So, to answer your question directly, if we can't get all $26 million, we're going to be asking for the 16. Oh, sorry. If we can't get the entire $26 million, we're going to be asking in the next article for the 16.5 just to put the Sandwich Road force main in place so that we can take the stress at least off of the Minot Ave force main. So again, the benefit of abandoning the Minot Ave force main and rehabilitating it for the next purpose is your new outfall location, which is really exciting. We had it modeled by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, and it allows the endpoint expansion within our CWMP, which is being forced upon the town. We're going to have to sewer most of the town. To do that, we're going to have to expand the amount that we discharge from the plant. To do that, we have to find a new place to discharge. The previous location selected, we're going to cost nearly $500 million to get to. So to rehab the old force main and have it almost already at the point that it needs to discharge, we're saving hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's what I hope for this town. So I don't live in the town. I work for you. And this is the plan we came up with. I'm really excited about it. It's as exciting as wastewater gets.
Thank you. Gentleman to my left.
Dan Moriarty, you just answered the question. What are you going to reuse that pipe for? So that's the outfall, for future outfall?
That is our modeled location for our new outfall. And again, it allows us to accomplish, it puts us 15 years into a 20-year project in a matter of just reusing existing infrastructure and rehabilitating it in an appropriate manner while replacing the age infrastructure with something that's going to benefit the whole town for the future with allowing the new sewer to come in.
Yes, lady to my right.
Am I on your right?
Yeah, my right.
Hi, Tricia.
You probably have to pull the microphone down a little bit.
I'm trying to.
All right.
Tricia Wirtz. I'm a resident of Wareham, and some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm listening to what's being said. I do not have any problem with what the projects are. Where I see problem is this town has over the years made some citizens absolutely have to be on sewer and some do not. In the billing that we've done in the past, that the citizens that have sewer end up paying for all the sewer happening. The big businesses are not being billed for it, etc. As this moves forward, this town has to make their whole town pay for this betterment, not just the people who are on sewer now. And most of us are on sewer because at some point the town forced us on it. So just think about that as you decide whether you're going to back this or not.
Thank you. Mrs. Hayes.
Excuse me. Annie Hayes, Farmers Lane. I'm interested in the quality of the outfall. Recently, I was reintroduced to a young woman who's 19. She has just been made the NOAA classification of the ocean ambassador. There are only 40 young people chosen nationwide, and Abigail is one of them. So we all know the ocean is plasticized. We've all read about it. We all know that microplastics turn into degrading into nanoparticles, and that they're tiny itty-bitty things, billionths of a meter, and what happens to those, because they certainly impact marine life. They combine with microplastics and other junk in the ocean and become more and more toxic stew. So what is being put back into the ocean?
So if you are able to answer that question, and then...
Sure. I assume you're probably talking about PFAS and things of that nature, as well as potentially microplastics. Not a lot of microplastics, per se, solid-wise, in our effluent. There is PFAS. It's in the influent, it's in the effluent, it's in the sludge. It's generally ubiquitous in nature at this point in time. I will tell you, if you really want to hear a lot about it, my background, I was a licensed site professional. I did hazardous waste site cleanup for 20 years. I know a lot about it, and I will tell you it's a real thorn in my side. You're talking about something that's measured at a part per trillion, which is an eyedropper in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The analysis of it is, I find, inadequate. You're talking about something that could be, when you look at the actual QA/QC, it could be 35% of the actual number or 145% of the actual number. That's the range they give. And if you want to base a couple $1 billion worth of infrastructure on what could be 30% of a problem or 145% of a problem, I think you want to know exactly where you are. I think it's irresponsible, some of the amount of infrastructure that's been put upon towns for addressing PFAS. It's a real problem. Does it exist? 100%. Are you guys eating on a daily basis? Yeah, likely, because it's coming through the wastewater system, and it's coming through people. Go ahead.
Just one other point of clarity now is the town of Wareham has a pre-existing ocean outfall. So this discussion is about relocating that, and within the area, Wareham's plant does perform very, very well when it comes to nitrogen removal rates. A lot of times their measured nitrogen is under 3 milligrams per liter, which is a threshold the state sets, and a lot of folks you talk to say, oh, you can't reach that, but really with the way Scott has been running the plant is it's a very high-performing plant, and the town already has a pre-existing outfall, so we're not introducing a new ocean outfall per se.
Thank you. Lady behind, yes, on my right.
Hi, Jamie Rebhan, Buckminster, Precinct 1. Just a couple of questions that may or may not be able to be answered on town meeting floor, but I appreciate it. Obviously, I am in support of this because I am very happy to see that we have options and are not just simply kicking the can down the road to worry about this later. But it is a lot of money, and as somebody with 2 sewer betterments, I was just curious, have any kind of projections been made as to how much this might be for sewer users? And if so, or if not, are we looking at any kind of override or debt exclusion depending on how much this might cost everybody? I understand it depends on financing, and it depends on what type of financing and if there are ever any grants available ever again. But there's a lot of factors. If there's any projections or anything, I'd love to know. If not, I thank you for putting thought into this, and we appreciate it.
So is there anyone that wishes to answer the question?
In the presentation, actually, we gave a range of $125 to $200 per user. Hello?
Closer.
I think if you just face it towards you and talk directly into it. There
Sorry.
you go.
So the presentation gave a range of $125 to $200 per user currently. Again, that depends on the high end, obviously, if we don't get a lot of subsidy. I will say we're also doing a lot of things at the plant to reduce costs. So before you start adding costs, you want to reduce costs. And one of those things we're trying to reduce costs with is the way we handle sludge. Currently, we spend over $500,000 a year disposing of sludge, which is our waste product after we've done the treatment. We're going through a couple different processes to try to do our best with it. I will tell you that we are going to be looking to do composting, licensing it for land application, which is a big problem right now. People don't want the land application because of the PFAS. Again, it's ubiquitous in nature. It's everywhere. Yes, it's in our sludge. Yes, it's in our wastewater. So it's there, but these are the things we're trying to do to reduce costs, and every time you get a new regulation in play, the alternative currently is to spend that $500,000 a year or more. It's going to go up. Okay, if we don't get the land application, and Woonsocket, which is currently taking our stuff and incinerating it and then doing filling, the next best place, believe it or not, is to ship it to Ohio. We have to change the process we treat it and then ship it to Ohio. So at some point, the regulation is going to have to meet the real needs. And that's what I'm here for. So I try to advocate reality. You can put all sorts of regulations in place, but eventually you have to draw the line where what's possible and what's not. So that's where we're at. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, did you wish to speak in your non-militia capacity?
I left my gun home.
There you go.
Howard Smith, West Wareham. Some of you know, I ran Smith's cesspool service for 46 years in this town, and I pumped a lot. And some people seem to think that I live in West Wareham because I'm not on sewerage, I'm not paying my share. I am. All of my customers over those years paid their share. You have to remember, when that sewer plant was originally built, everybody in town paid for it through their taxes. When their septic system was pumped, they paid per gallon. They paid 100 times what people on sewerage are paying. You only pay a fraction. When I went into that sewer plant with a load, my customer was paying $150. Part of that fee was just to dump, because we were charged per gallon. Up here, I don't see that this says it's just the people on sewerage are going to be paying for this. I'm going to be paying for it. You people that don't have sewerage, you're still going to be paying for it. So it's not free.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens that wish to be heard? So I think you have a bit of time left, Mrs. Hayes, so go ahead.
Quick. Annie Hayes, I would react to that by saying it's much more complicated. It's not PFAS, the category is PFAS. There are polymer PFAS and non-polymer PFAS. Right now in the UK, the House of Lords is debating to ban 15,000 forever chemicals and not manufacture them at all except for essential uses. They're going into our waters, and I would like to have you submit what your policy is or what filtration you're using so that citizens can read about it.
Thank you. Gentleman behind you.
Yeah, Warren Dowling, 1 Birch Street. I wish my wife were here because she's an English major. I'm concerned, I'm totally in favor of this because it would be a disaster if it broke. But it looks like we borrowed the sum of $26 million at one time or from time to time. That looks like we have the option to borrow $26 million from time to time. I wonder if the wording could be changed or just eliminate that.
It is established.
I'm sure the town
so
council.
If we did not have that, it would mean we'd have to borrow $26 million at once, even though you were only expending $2 or $3 million. So you're allowed to expend in increments to get to the 26, and that saves us money not borrowing what we don't need. So, but good point. Thank you.
Are there any other gentlemen in the blue vest?
Tony Romano, 81 Swiss Beach Road. I have a clarification that I'm sure somebody can answer. One of the previous speakers had made an analogy between a eyedropper and an Olympic-sized pool for the number of these contaminants. And I'm wondering if the other side of it is that whatever you get in you stays in you and accumulates so that the density is greater. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not suggesting that I know, but I'm hoping somebody can clarify or speak to what the effect of these negative things, I'm not sure what you call them, are doing to us.
Is there anyone that is able to answer the question? Yes, Scott.
They generally don't bioaccumulate. However, they are found at times in the kidneys of people that get bisected after they're dead. But, So yeah, they do tend to at times bioaccumulate, but typically they are systemic. They go through you just like other pharmaceuticals. So that in general, we have on Cape Cod, if you sample the drinking water, the groundwater, it's actually caffeinated. A lot of different chemicals go through you, like caffeine, estrogen inhibitors, things like that. We don't have a filtration system at the wastewater plant to remove those things. Sometimes they come out in the sludge and they accumulate there. Otherwise, they do end up into what's currently the river. The beauty behind putting it in the Narrows is it's a lot deeper and the water moves a lot quicker there. So it's a good avenue out to the greater ocean versus building up in the embayments. And that's what made that location a good spot. Also, just a point of clarification, I'm not sure if that's what Russ was wanting to get at, but Article 14, the next one, what was going to be the 68, if we can pass this one, that other one obviously goes away. We don't need another $16 million. So just to put that out of your heads.
Thank you. Gentleman behind you in the black jacket.
Scott Parr, 87 Oak Street. Part of my question may just have been answered. I don't understand how these numbers relate to one another. I see $26 million for 13, $16,500 for 14. The Finance Committee speaks about $42 million, and the gentleman in their presentation had a summary table that was, I don't recall the number, 20 million? Are these additive? Are they alternatives? I would appreciate understanding how those numbers relate one to another. Thank you.
Well, I'll have Mr. I apologize. I'm not quite sure how to say your last name, so why don't I just put that out there and I'll get it correct next time.
Well, my parents always said Cry-Hansel, but it's,
Cry-Hansel.
it's Americanized to Cray-Hansel now, whatever the spelling gets you. But
And
to
Madam
answer your...
Moderator, I apologize before we
Yeah,
get to that. I think we just need to remember first, we had an existing $6 million loan that had been approved. We just rescinded that, which, you know, that's why when going to the 26, it's a new authorization of 20. We already had that one. We got rid of that $6 million to make sure we could do this project. So in thinking about it, $6 million had already been authorized. What they're coming forward with is an additional $20 million. So I just think I just want people to remember what we just did before. Thank you.
Yeah, and to answer your question, the different numbers came from the total project with all three phases. Oh, sorry. The total project with all three phases is $26 billion. Phase one, just putting the pipe in the ground to take the stress off of Minot Forest Main and go up Sandwich Road, is $16.5 million. After that, there was an additional phase two for $3.5 million, and then phase three was $6 million. And again, it's important, economy of scale wise, and just overall trying to be able to get the grant money. With the third phase, we throw in the idea that we're going to reuse the old line for nutrient removal, which gets us into a better ballpark to get the grants, to get loan forgiveness and 0% financing. So that's why it's a lot to ask for. But if you don't ask for it, then you're likely not to get the grant for the $16.5 million. You're going to have to spend that money and pay it back. If you go for the bigger one with the nutrient removal, it's got a much better benefit to the town long term, and you get the benefit of hopefully getting grant money. It's a very attractive grant application.
So lady to my left, please.
Hi, Melissa Harrington, Kristen Lane. I just reading and listening, what happens if this doesn't happen? Like, I'm assuming this is something that's very important to happen sooner rather than later. And if it doesn't get approved and we are not able to go through with the plans that you have, what is the detriment that it could have to the town and the sewer systems that would not be able to be fixed? I know there's concerns about and I know the woman said in London they're evaluating it, but I know a lot of things that are approved here are not approved in different countries. So, I mean, I don't know if we can go by that, but how detrimental to the system is it going to be if we don't get this done in the possibility of sooner rather than later?
If you are willing to answer the question, please go ahead.
Yeah. Long story short, if you don't do it, we could end up like Plymouth and spend $45 million to have to turn around, quickly repair in an emergency a line that we could have not had an emergency on and have the future benefit and potentially get the grant money with the nutrient removal. So that's you saw the video of the sewage going into the Potomac River. Well, right next to it's the Wareham River. So that you could have that. That could be the worst case scenario, really.
So I would just also briefly add to that
well, actually, you can go ahead, but there are some citizens that I think we should speak also. So,
just very briefly. On top of the cost to repair it, which is likely higher than the cost to install the new one, as Scott mentioned, there's an environmental impact that's very difficult to put a price on when that amount of sewage leaks into the natural environment. And then there's also the disruption to businesses and everyone that's tied to that pump station, because if that pump station turns off and cannot be used while they're fixing the main, that means the businesses tied to it can't be used. Downtown has to shut down. There's an economic impact to that. Happened twice on a town on Cape Cod. One was due to a lightning strike and another was due to foreign material in the pipeline itself. And those are the higher costs that are very challenging to put a finite number on. So thank you.
Yes, lady to my left.
Millie Burrows from Precinct 6. I'd just like to share several thoughts. First of all, approving $26 million now is a better use of our money, knowing that down the road, if we only get 16.5 now and we come back later for more, prices are going to go up, correct? So we'll be over $26 million in the end. So that's just an economic thing. The second thing is, I'm grateful that in the CWMP there is a provision for some consideration of alternative technologies, and that plans can evolve over time as new information is gotten. Some people in town know me as the urine lady or the pee lady because I talk about urine diversion, and that is one possible solution. Tomorrow at the library, there is a Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock at the library, there is a program being presented that talks about PFAS and pharmaceuticals in urine, and it's guaranteed to be enlightening, so join us if you're curious. And the last thing I want to say is the Sewer Commission itself is working on an equitable billing determination. There's a lot of research and conversation going on to try to improve the system that we have, and I just want to say my appreciation for all that work in town, for the hardworking, competent people that are on that board. So I encourage people to support the $26 million at this point.
Thank you. Lady to my right, you have the floor.
Hi, Andrea Banks, Barrett Way. I just have a quick question. So we're discussing Article 13, but then if you look down further, it says S13, S14, it's $42 million. So I just wanted clarity on that as far as the difference between the two dollar amounts.
Article S14.
Yeah, I think, so the other 16 million is 16.5 million. That is going away if we can get this article passed. So we put it in there because it's so important that we repair the force main. And, again, we couldn't just ask for the 26 and have people say no, and then not ask at least to fix the force main that needs to be fixed as a dire need. So that goes away. We're really only asking for 26, not only, sorry, that's a lot. We're asking for $26 million to use the money responsibly in a way that benefits the future and present at the same time.
Thank you. Lady to my left.
Yes, Michelle Rose, Cottage Street. My question has to do with there's nothing new under the sun. And I want to know, have other communities, towns, cities, done this? What's the history? How successful has it been in other places? The same thing with the grants. What are the grants? People should know at this point that grant money is available, but usually grant money for the same thing, definitely has been available in the past. And so do we have any kind of projection as to what other communities have gotten in grant money, and who are the grantors? Do we know, have we got the research that's been done to figure out, at least to make projections as to how successful other communities have been, and what kind of money has been accessed in the past?
Is there anyone that's able to answer her question about the grant money?
Yeah, if I could let
Not just the grant money. Not just the grant money. The project. Has this project been done before in a similar manner or in exactly the same manner? And what has the success rate been in the past? Yeah, okay. Oh, I'll move.
If you're able to answer the question, yes, sir.
So yes, with regards to this specific project, no two pipeline projects are exactly the same, But what we're proposing to do, a plastic-based sewer force main, is the industry standard now. In fact, we've gotten away from building force mains with ductile iron, the material that was used to cause this. So this is a very traditional, proven technology that we're doing for the actual proposal of the force main and also the work in phases 2 and 3. With regards to grants, some of the grants I can think of off the top of my head is the state has what's called the Eco One-Stop program, which takes 8 different grant categories for projects that are within coastal areas, that see a lot of weather events. So that can be applied to the existing infrastructure, pump stations that may be on the coastal boundaries. There's the MassWorks grant that has funded sewer pipeline projects when they promote economic growth. Those are 2 that come right to the top of my mind. And then also with the state revolving fund loan program, they offer what's called debt forgiveness, which is basically a certain percentage, and that can be up to 25% for other communities. And that basically is wiped off from your loan. So if we were to, say, borrow $26 million from the SRF program and we met all the criteria, there is potential for some of that to be forgiven through a grant. Other communities up to that 25%. We're not saying it's 25% with this because we have to get the authorizations. You have to apply for grants. They're extremely competitive. Much like the SRF funding, this is all an application process. That's why we presented the range of funding. We just don't have those finite details, but there are other grant programs, forgiveness programs that are successful in other communities.
And just to confirm, Russ, we received 23.9% forgiveness in the past. So on a $16 million loan, we received $3.824 million off of that, which is a substantial amount. It has worked for us.
So when we look at the $26 million, wiping off the $6 million that's rescinded, gets us down to $20 million. If we're fortunate enough to get some forgiveness and those higher percentages and the 20+% plus some grants, we might actually only be looking at 15 to 18, 19 million for all 3 phases, not just the 16.5, that phase 1, which is the following article, if this one does not pass. And keep in mind for the next article, that 16.5, it will not be as advantageous for the 0% funding through the state revolving fund program, and will be less advantageous for some of the grant programs.
Thank you. Mrs. Slavin.
I'm not sure how to put it. Can we vote on this?
So I'm hearing, I interpret that as a motion to move the question, that it's a motion to go to a vote on this article. It is not debatable, and it requires you should know what that's called. It's not debatable, and it requires a 2/3 vote. So I'm going to try for a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to move the previous question, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously, so we're going to go, no clapping, we're going to go directly to a vote on the motion under Article S13, which requires a 2/3 vote because it is a borrowing. It's as appears on the PowerPoint presentation. All those in favor of the motion under Article S13, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay.
Nay.
I declare that it's a 2/3 voice vote and is passed. Well, Article S14.
Matt, could you move it? Yeah, that one. Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Okay. Is there a motion? Yeah, we have to kind of go in sequence. Is there a motion under Article S14?
I move that the town vote to pass over this article.
Second. Is there a second? Motion made and seconded to pass over Article S14. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action on this Article 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S14? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S14. It's a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. Article S15. Article S15, transfer of retained earnings to offset project costs. Is there a motion under Article S15?
I move that the town vote to transfer $3,500,000 from certified retained earnings to offset the cost of sewer projects.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded under Article S15. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board recommended favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S15?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Retained earnings are the enterprise fund, so the sewer department's version of free cash. That's what they have at the end of the year. Theirs had been certified at about 11.1 million, but that's only 8.1 of that should be accessed because there was betterments that were prepaid, so you always keep those in there so that the other ratepayers don't have to pay it at the end. So they have this fund, the funds available. It was something when we were meeting discussing the motions, we brought this up as a potential to offset some of the costs with the chairman and another member. I know the sewer commissioner did not vote as a board to put this in, is my understanding. So it was in there. It's available. And however, I don't know if the chairman wants us to take this up or members. Yep. So I just wanted to point that out and clarify. So,
Mrs. Slavin.
Yes, Sandy Slavin, Precinct 3. I am a sewer commissioner. Are we voting on what's on the screen or what's on the warrant?
We're voting on what's on the screen.
That says cost of sewer projects. The warrant definitely specified this amount toward the forced main Sandwich Road. I'm concerned that this 3.5 intended to be against the 26 we just approved could go against any project. Am I misunderstanding what I'm looking at?
I understand your question.
So I think the answer to it would be if you'd feel better by modifying this vote, with this motion with that language, you should do that. And I'm not being rude on that.
No, honestly, I believe we should vote what's written in our warrant, not what's on the screen.
So I hear you to say that you wish to amend the main motion to read.
And please, someone read out loud what it says in the warrant versus what's on the screen. But yes, that is my request. We vote what's on written, so we know this is going for the main, force main project, not any sewer projects, which is too general.
So would it be the cost of the sewer force main projects?
It reads to help offset the cost of Sandwich Road force main installation and Minot Ave sewer improvement projects. That's what it says in the warrant.
That's the warrant.
Bear with me 1 minute.
That's exactly what it says in the warrant.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right, so I'm being offered some sound advice here. The person that made the main motion, if I could just offer a friendly amendment to that, if you would be willing to withdraw your motion and the second be withdrawn, so that the motion reads, let's see, I move to transfer sum from the FY26 Water Pollution Control Facility certified retained earnings to help offset the cost of Sandwich Road Force Main Installation and Minot Ave Sewer Improvement Project. Do you accept that amendment to your motion? Is there a second?
In the amount of.
In the amount of $3,500,000.
I'll second it.
So a motion made and seconded. Does anyone else wish to speak to
Thank
this
you.
article? You're welcome. Does anyone wish to be heard on this this motion under Article S15?
Please, Laurie McShay from Prospect Street. Not on this motion, but on S14. Why did we vote that to be?
Well, we're actually past S14, but I think if you're asking why do we vote to pass over it, my understanding of that is that was a part of the larger project that we voted for S13. And if anyone
To
tells
clarify,
me that
that was S14 was contingent if F13 failed.
Right.
S13 passed, so there was no need for the S14, which is
I'm
why
sorry,
we passed
I
it over.
misunderstood. I thought we passed S14 also.
We passed it over because it wasn't,
Passed it over.
it was moved,
Thank you.
so to
I'm
speak.
sorry.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S15? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S15. Is that a majority? That requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. Article S7. Is there a motion under Article S7?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded under Article S7. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak to this article? Mr. Sullivan.
I'll keep this one short. The prudent investor rules, there's certain limits that we can invest funds on for some of our trust funds. Stabilization fund, we could never trust in, could never put into anything else. Has to basically be from short interest from banks. Some of the other ones, like if we were, somebody bequeathed funds to the school in a trust, this allows them to invest it in a better manner, if you will. The alternative is what's called the, yes, the list. Essentially a list of, and it is, think about the most boring investments with dividends and some banks or some yeah. So this allows them to invest in other ways. This was requested of me. It makes sense. I know our treasurer collector probably would not be going this way. But the interesting thing is, if we were doing the OPEB trust fund ourselves and we weren't investing through Plymouth County, we would not be getting the returns. So Plymouth County allowed us to invest in this manner already. So it's a prudent one, and it's a good course, I believe. So thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S7? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S7, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay.
Nay.
Did someone say nay? It passes by a majority voice vote. Article S10. Is there a motion under Article S10?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Sir, second. Motion made and seconded under the motion under Article S10. May the report and recommendation of the Select Board.
The Select Board voted favorable action 500.
May the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee voted favorable recommendation 600.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak on the motion under Article S10?
Director Nichols, would you care?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jackie Nichols. I'm the assessor. And I just wanted to let you guys know that this is only the second time we've come before this body in 12 years for this money. It's something that we have to do. We're mandated by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to go out and look at every single parcel, which is 14,800 and change at this point, every 9 years. And we have kept up that cyclical data collection through the past 12 years and would like to move $92,500 from the overlay surplus into the general fund to do this, so we can do it for another estimated 5 years for $92,500 and keep ourselves in good standing with our inspection program. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article S10? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S10, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. And that's the last article under the special town meeting. I'll entertain a motion to dissolve the special town meeting.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded to dissolve the special town meeting. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by stating nay. The special town meeting is dissolved, and based on our previous vote, we'll go back to the annual town meeting. Article 7. Is there a motion under Article 7, the FY 2027 budget?
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate from levies, state, and local receipts the sum of $74,548,975 and to transfer $975,000 from the Water Pollution Control Enterprise Fund, $121,200,000 from the FY27 Community Preservation Act, estimated revenues, $145,875,000 from the harbor service permit fees, and $25,000 from the wetland protections to fund the FY27 budget as presented in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Madam Moderator, before the second, Matt, there is a Scrivener's error up there which doesn't match the budget. The enterprise fund should read 997,500. Yep, 997. And then that should be $500. Perfect. Thank you very much. I apologize.
So I don't think there was a second on that. So would the moving party be willing to
I'm
withdraw?
seconding.
Oh, did you? Okay. So would the moving party be willing to withdraw her previous motion to accept that correction, and the seconding party be willing to withdraw
Yes,
her
ma'am.
second?
Yes.
Thank you. So why don't you, if you could restate the motion with that.
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate from levy, state, and local receipts the sum of $74,548,975 and to transfer $997,500 from the Water Pollution Control Enterprise Fund, $121,200 from the FY27 Community Preservation Act estimated revenues, $145,875 from the harbor service permit fees, and $25,000 from the wetlands protection to fund the FY27 budget as presented in the Finance Committee report.
Is there a second on that motion? So motion made and seconded on Article 7, the FY 2027 budget. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600. And if I may, Madam Moderator, take a second. People need to understand, we started this process on this budget last November, meeting with the schools. And there were a lot of tough decisions that had to be made. I don't envy the superintendent or the town administrator. This was a very, very difficult budget. And I just want to thank the town administrator, the superintendent, their staffs, because we met multiple times. I'm going to say 4 or 5 times with each. And I thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to are you going to speak on that?
Yeah.
Mr. Sullivan.
And if I can take a moment, a little privilege here, I'd ask that Ms. Nichols, Mr. Turner, and Mr. DeAndrea all stand up for a moment. We're going to, come on. I don't ask this all the time. So. We're going to lose these folks to retirement. I just want to thank them for their service to the community. They've done an excellent job, and I appreciate all their help. And Jackie's dozen years, I think it's felt like a lifetime when working with me. So I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for your service to the community.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak further on the budget article?
Yes. I had in the town administrator's handout, I had a little flowery intro, I'm not too good at doing flowery, so we'll go straight to the...
We already know that about you.
Yeah. We'll go straight to the budget, which is in the Finance Committee report. It's in the appendices at the end. And what I'd like to just go through is just let you see how we develop the budget, if you will. At the top of it, for FY27 in the far right-hand column, that's what we're voting upon. And you'll see real estate taxes. How do we get that first number? That first number, you go to the prior year real estate taxes. You do the Proposition 2.5% increase.
Can I just stop you just for 1 second? I just want to make sure everyone is looking at what you're looking at. This is an appendix to the Finance Committee report.
Right. It says Article 7, FY27 budget. In that, and on the page 1 of 4 within that appendix, that's what we're looking at. And it is the column on the right-hand side.
I think we're all on the same page, more or less. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I had it earmarked.
Yeah, okay. I did also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we add the 2.5% authorized, the new growth, that becomes our new levy base for the fiscal year that's coming up, so FY27. You don't include the debt exclusion. That's an in and an out, and that is for the elementary school. So our new number starting off with is $52,628,417. Now, we all talk about Proposition 2.5. That is not your taxes on your individual home. That is on the levy base. So the total tax value of all the property within the community. So the 2.5% increase is $1,315,711. It's a good sum of money, except when we have costs like our health insurance rising at 10%, which can eat up $800,000-900,000 of that immediately before we see anything else. But we'll get to that later. So growth is new growth. New growth is the new buildings you'd see around town, if there's new construction, new commercial. And I'll hear a lot of things like the Walmart building went up. That's got to be worth a fortune. Well, just so everybody understands, to get about $1 million in new growth, you need about $120 million valuation. Does that sound right, Jackie? How many $120 million projects have you seen come into the community? We don't. So we are a very heavily residential-based community. Although we see these commercial properties throughout, they are not high value, and we don't have many large projects coming in. So that's why you'd see $550,000 worth of new growth. And we're actually lower than our greatest was about FY24, which I think was around $700,000+. And this is the highest amount. We've averaged $300,000 before. In the early 2000s, in the boom before the crash, they almost averaged $1 million at one point. So we're actually less than that before. Now, the interesting item is, you add now to the debt exclusion, which again is an in and out, and that gives us our total property taxes and other real estate taxes, a little over $56 million. The next thing you get is your Chapter 70. Chapter 70 is the state aid that we get for education. So it's a goodly sum. Charter schools, the offset of what the charter school amount is, it was just under $18 million. But if you look at that, look at the actual increase from about 17.6 to 17.8. For all our 2,000 kids, we received about $230,000 in new state aid. And then underneath that will be the general government. I'm going to gloss over that because the main point is later on you'll see these things called assessments. That's what the Commonwealth charges us for our kids going to charter schools, choice, for GATRA, for some of the retired teachers, health insurance, mosquito control, and other couple things. Well, all told, when the budget came out, the first one from the governor, our new state aid, net state aid, when we took what they're giving us and taking us away, was $498,000. Negative. Let me repeat that. Negative $498,000. It's a killer to us when our revenues are, all of our revenues, a quarter of them are state aid. So where do we have to try and make this up? Well, we have these things called local receipts. Local receipts are not stable. They ebb and they flow. Our main one is motor vehicle excise. And typically, you only vote 90% of the prior full fiscal year's revenue. This is the first time you'll see motor vehicle excise tax actually a little bit higher than FY25 for FY27. Why am I doing this? One, we need it. Without this, the funding would be supremely less. However, in looking through getting the first commitment of motor vehicle excise tax, I looked at it, which is in this current year, it was 12% higher than what we did in FY25. So I took FY25's actual number, increased that by 12%, and then took 90%. That is why you see such a large increase. That is a one-time fix for us. And then the rest of the excise taxes fall in line, essentially, with where we were in FY25. So you see we're at almost $1 million increase. But again, almost all of that is the motor vehicle excise. And that is a one-year fix for us. Go to the next section. These are available funds. And what we're doing here, you saw sort of separate in the motion. That is the harbor service permit fees. That is actually paying for the new boat that we had for the harbor master that was ordered. We got passed through town meeting a few years ago, ordered, and we have it in now, Gary? Yes. All right. It's fantastic. what we're doing is paying it through the harbor service permit fees. It's appropriate. The Community Preservation Fund, this is the debt service where they're paying for the Little Harbor Golf Course. So again, that's appropriate. Then the Enterprise Fund, direct, indirect. Directly in this budget, we pay for the health insurance, all the benefits of the Water Pollution Control Facility employees, the work that the town employees do on behalf of it. That is all the costs that we do and incur on behalf of the enterprise fund. And that's why you have an enterprise fund set up. So that is really, when we come down, those are our revenues. And we're looking at an $88,513,577 budget. Now we have alternative cost drivers. We have the departments. The departments are realistically, including the towns and the school, it's contractual obligations, and then cost increase. I don't think any of us in our own personal lives have not experienced cost increase over the last 5 years. Well, that happens for the towns and the schools as well. We pay those cost increases as well. The ones I'd like to get through is if you wouldn't mind moving to page 4 of 4. You can see at the top says education, fixed costs. Going through the fixed costs, these are our debt service. Again, that's the new school debt, and that's an in and out through the debt exclusion. Debt principal, the only thing we still have on the books outside of what we just talked about was the middle school roof. Otherwise, everything is still is a community preservation or harbor service permit. Veterans assessments. That covers our costs of the shared veterans agent, plus the payments that we make to veterans in this community. And that is through the Veteran Services Department. SERPED, small amount of money, Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development. They do a lot of planning for us, help us get grants, and I would say that is probably one of the best deals around. I can see Alan shaking his head correct, even though I'm not looking over. And here is the big one that we're going to start getting through, and their benefits. Now, pension retirement contribution. We in Plymouth County Retirement are on a catch-up. So approximately in 2031, we will go from catching up to being fully funded. The only problem is that means we're going to be experiencing 8% increases annually until then. It is a harsh and it is a large increase, and that covers town employees and non-teacher school employees. Now, why do we want to get to 2031? Some of the other communities are trying to push that off. Well, I look at it this way. We're going to have those increases. We have to figure out a way to pay them, because once we go to pay-as-you-go, we will go from probably costs of around $8.5, maybe $9 million to about $3 million. Once we catch up, we will have those funds available, and that is important. If we keep on pushing that out, as I've said before, kicking the can down the road, we're going to be incurring these costs and never get to the end of the line. It's almost like if you remember those mortgages where you used to just pay, not even have to pay the interest, just pay the principal, and the interest would go right on top of it, and you would never, ever pay that off, and it would increase. Well, that's what those options would be. So we need to pay this off, and we need to plan for it. LIUNA is a small Laborers International separate pension, water pollution control laborers, regular laborers, 4 persons, clerical, that's theirs. You'll notice our workers' compensation and 111F benefits. Through training and excellent experience, our workers' comp has been going down significantly. And I appreciate the hard work of Human Resources, especially through our Assistant Town Administrator, Doreen Allen England, who helps not only the town, but the school. This is a direct benefit that we've had. Town insurance, as you remember, I asked to put some funds aside for the deductible. That is so we can decrease our annual premiums. Medical insurance. We went into the Mayflower Municipal Health Group, and I'll call it a while ago. It has been one of the best things we've done. It's stabilized, but nationally double-digit increases are what are occurring. In fact, around the Commonwealth, it's not been unheard of at 14, 18, 20% increases. We have a 10% increase, and I never thought I would cheer that. But that was excellent, but still very costly. So you'll see the difference of about 900,000 to a little over 9.8 million, excuse me, 9 million to about 9.8. As part of this, we used to have an offset of about a $200,000 holdback. I have taken that down to a $100,000 holdback, again, to try and make sure we had funding available for the departments and school. FICA, that's 1.45% Medicare payroll tax that we pay on all the wages. So if you look at it, our increase for benefits is at about 1.22 million. So essentially our Proposition 2.5, our 2.5% increase on taxes is wiped out by benefits before we even get to anything else. So if you understand why we've discussed it, tough budget cycle, these are the main drivers. Now, here's the other thing. If you go down, state and county assessments, again, 7.6 million going up to 8.4 million. If you remember our little $200,000 increase for state aid and some of the other numbers, now look at this, going up about an $800,000 increase on the assessments. So they're taking back far more than we're giving. In fact, I think I don't have it in front of me, but our net state aid is only $300,000 more, I think, than we were receiving in 2013. It's brutal. And then we have the overlay. Overlay, if you heard, we just had the release. However, this is what we do as an offset. This is in case you have a business, you have anybody that appeals their assessment, their taxes. It's prudent to do this every year and put those funds aside. And the last one's Upper Cape Cod Tech. We were only going to get an $18,000 increase. However, what happened was some students were assessed to Bourne that actually had gone school choice through the Bourne school system to Upper Cape Cod Tech after they moved through the middle school, but they're actually Wareham students. So that's where you see this big change in the assessment for over 300,000, about 338,000. So those are all the things we experienced to get here on the budget. We've balanced the budget. It is not perfect. It's not even great, but it got us there, and we know we have to do a lot of planning for the future. So I appreciate your time and your consideration on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. So what we will do in considering the budget article is I am going to read through the sections that make up the operating budget. And again, we're referring to the same addendum that Mr. Sullivan was just referring to, which is that addendum to the Finance Committee's report. As I read a section, if anyone wishes to make a comment or ask a question about that particular line item, please simply signify by stating hold. And after I'm done reading all the various sections, we'll go back to that item and you can make your comment or ask your question. Town meetings, wages. Town meetings, expenses. Selectmen's wages. Selectmen's expenses. Pardon me. Town administrator wages. Town administrator expenses. Finance committee expenses. Reserve fund. Town accountant wages. Town accountant expenses. Audit. Assessor's wages. Assessor's expenses. Treasurer wages. Treasurer expenses. General services wages. General services expenses. legal services, personnel services wages, personnel services expenses, information management technology wages, information management technology expenses, information management technology communications, town clerk wages, town clerk expenses, elections and registration wages, elections and registrations expenses, planning and community development wages, planning and community development expenses, sick bonus wages, police wages, police expenses, capital, emergency management wages, emergency management expenses, inspectional services wages, inspectional services expenses, Division of Natural Resources wages, Division of Natural Resources expenses, municipal maintenance and public buildings wages, municipal maintenance and public buildings, snow and ice wages, snow and ice expenses, street lights general, Board of Health wages, Board of Health expenses, Council on Aging wages, Council on Aging expenses, Commission on Disabilities, Veterans Council, library wages, library expenses, Historical District Commission, Historical Committee, education, net school spending, non-net school spending, pupil transportation, fixed costs, other costs, employee benefits. So I did not hear anyone asking for a hold on any of those line items of the total operating budget. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard generally on the motion under Article 7? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote under the motion on the motion under Article 7, the FY 2027 budget, which is a majority vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article 7, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority. Article 17. On Article 17, I'll recognize the petitioner on this. Do you have a motion under Article 17?
Yes, Sandy Slavin. I'm the chair of Planet Forest Committee and a chair of Open Space Committee, and I have requested a passover on this article.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to pass over Article 17. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 17? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article 17.
Point of order?
Yeah, yes.
We didn't hear the reports of the Finance Committee.
Oh, I apologize. I was so good so far. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted favorable action 5-0-0.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends refer to town meeting 700.
Thank you. So I think I saw no one else waiting to be heard. We'll go to a motion under Article 17 to pass over. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. Article 18. Article 18 is a citizen's petition regarding plastic bag reduction, so I will defer to the petitioner for the motion on this article.
Madam Moderator, Mr. Sullivan, Select Board, Finance Committee, and fellow residents. My name's Joanne Finn. I live at 10 Harborview Lane, Precinct 3. As a little introduction, you might recognize me as the lady with the pet stroller.
Well, I think before you get to your
What do I do?
introduction,
What do
which
I
I'll
do?
allow you to do, we need a motion first.
Oh,
and
I make the motion?
Yes, I'm going to defer to the petitioner if you could make the motion.
Do I just read that, you mean?
Yes, if what's in the warrant article which you've actually filed, that's what you should do.
Okay.
All right.
I move that the town vote to approve the article as printed in the warrant, and further to have it inserted in the Town of Wareham bylaws as Division 8A.
I think it's 13, actually.
13A. Oh, I need to go to school. 13A.
It's 13A. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Motion made and second on the motion under Article 18. Before we get to, if I could have the report and recommendation of the Select Board.
Right.
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 511.
So now you have the floor if you wish to speak to the article and give your introduction or whatever you wish to say.
Okay.
We're all ears.
I'm barely awake. No, I shouldn't say that. Okay. As an introduction, you might recognize me as the lady with the pet stroller picking up trash along Great Neck Road on the way to pick up trash at Little Harbor. Or maybe you had me as your physical therapist at Toby, where I worked for 42 years, along with my husband, Dr. Matthew Finn. We built our home on Little Harbor 44 years ago and made Wareham our home. We have loved it here. Matthew passed away in 2009, but I can't imagine living anywhere else. I was particularly proud of Wareham when we were one of a few towns to ban the sale of nips. I wasn't sure it would make a difference, but take it from me, it really has. The number of these little plastic bottles has been greatly reduced, and so the amount of plastic waste on our streets and in our precious waterways has been decreased. 3 years ago, our deacon at the Church of the Good Shepherd founded our Good and Green team, there's my vest, to work together on reducing, reusing, and recycling in our church community and beyond. We've participated in the annual Don't Trash Wareham cleanup days and hosted a table at the Wise Earth Day event, to name a few. Because of my love of this town and keeping it beautiful, I wanted us to address another big waste issue: single-use plastic bags. As of May 2025, 163 Massachusetts cities and towns have banned single-use plastic shopping bags. Almost 50% of the 351 towns and cities, representing over 70% of the Commonwealth's population. Bans are present in all 14 counties, and Massachusetts has more local bans than any other state except California. Plastics are harmful to wildlife and degrade the environment. The bags are manufactured using fossil fuels and can persist in the environment for centuries. Reducing the use of these plastic bags will drastically cut down on the amount of waste on our roadways and in our waterways and in our landfills. And there is no systemic way to recover plastics once they enter lakes, oceans, or other waterways. People don't want to pollute or litter, and they want to do the right thing, but we need policies and tools to make it easier to do so. The first step toward change is raising awareness and start to change the culture in the minds of both the retailers and the consumers. Residents understandably might have concerns about the impact of the use of these measures on their daily life, but this change will not affect the use of other bags, such as trash bags, newspaper bags, dry cleaning bags, bread bags. So we will still have ways to dispose of garbage and pet waste. There should be very little increased cost to consumers other than the one-time cost for purchasing reusable bags. Stores can provide paper bags or free boxes for consumers who forget their reusable bags.
And I just want to say at this point, my mouth is dry. I go to 3 stores I go to, Stop and Shop, Aldi, and Dollar Store have already done this. They don't use any plastic bags. We can create a generational shift in the way we think about harmful materials, the long-term benefits of which should far outweigh any minor inconvenience. And I'm not sure what any inconvenience might be. In closing, Wareham has the opportunity to join with the 2/3 of the population of our Commonwealth and become a part of the solution, as so many of our neighboring towns, including Bourne, Fairhaven, Plymouth, Falmouth, and Sandwich, have done. I can't imagine why we wouldn't want to make this change to keep Wareham beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 18? Yes, lady to my right.
Hi, my name is Kelly Nitcherbuck, Precinct 5. I am part of the Good and Green team at Good Shepherd. I was born and raised in Wareham, and now I am back raising my family here. So a couple years ago, a few condos were built next to the elementary school, and my son came home furious. They took down a ton of trees, he said. And so what was a normal recess turned into a full-on protest by the kids. They were chanting Team Trees, which if you follow YouTubers, Mr. Beast and Mark Rober, you know they're Team C's and Team Trees. Ask your young ones, they have a side. So tonight I'm coming to you from Team C's. You know I can give you all the facts of the coastline that we have, the amount of years it takes for these guys to break down. I've averaged it out. A family goes through about 750 single-use plastic bags every year, so there's a lot coming from our town. Bans are in place all over the country. They're yielding positive feedback. As a very, very busy mom of 3 spirited children, I know that every convenience is very important. So I promise you that this ban is just a minor adjustment in routine. It really is not difficult to get around not using these bags. It's not a significant change for us. It will be a significant change for our ecosystems in Wareham. That's why I stand in favor of this measure, as do the children. I promise you they are watching, so let's vote to ban these single-use plastic bags and make future generations of Wareham residents proud. Team C's. Thank you.
Mr. Fredrickson.
You got it. Sure. So I just want to bring up another practical point, too, that I think that is worth mentioning, which is that, as they mentioned before, there are a number of towns across the Commonwealth, including right here, local, that have already done this. And chances are it's only a matter of years until the state already decides to ban these plastic bags on their own. So the question for Wareham, then, is do we want to just do it now on our own terms and say, hey, let's be ahead of the curve, let's lead the way on this, or do we want to get dragged along 10 years, 5 years down the line when the state and everyone else is already doing it? As far as I'm concerned, there's no downside for Wareham doing it now. It's worked out great in these other towns, and it hasn't been a huge inconvenience. I mean, just look back, it was only a few decades ago when all these plastic bags really became popular. Prior to the 80s, they weren't anywhere. We got by just fine. There's no reason that we won't be able to do the same moving forward. And frankly, I think it just makes sense for us to move forward, be ahead of the curve on this. No reason to wait until we kind of get forced into it down the line anyway.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I think you wanted to speak, the young lady there, so I'm going to recognize you, please.
Abigail Atwood, 8 Central Avenue, Agawam Beach. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the time to talk with you all tonight. My name is Abigail. I'm a NOAA Ocean Guardian Youth Ambassador and Earth Echo Marine Plastics Ambassador, working on policy campaigns for reducing single-use plastics and microplastics at the local and state level. I have lived in Wareham, specifically Agawam Beach, for my entire life. I feel that living and growing up near the ocean and on the coast, like so many of us have, you become deeply aware of how fragile our coastal environments are and how much of an impact we can have on them. Which leads me to why I'm here tonight, because when you grow up on these beaches, you see firsthand that plastic does not go away or decompose. Plastic bags specifically fragment with sunlight and currents that break them down into smaller pieces. Microplastics that stay in our environment for centuries. They end up in our sand at beaches like Little Harbor and Onset, affect economically important species in shellfish beds, in our waterways and our marshes where they get trapped in salt marsh grasses, and ultimately in our food and into our bodies, which makes this not only an environmental issue, but a public health issue as well. At the state level, there is currently a bill that would create a statewide ban on these bags, along with a national trend that includes 12 other states like Maine, New York, and Connecticut. Scientific research has shown that a variety of marine species have been documented to have swallowed or become entangled in plastic, specifically ingesting plastic bags and wrappers. We can't wait for a statewide initiative to be approved. At the local level, we have the opportunity to prevent more of these tragedies from occurring. I won't talk about how much it costs businesses per bag because the reality is much larger in scale. If a store serves approximately 1,000 customers per day, which is a typical rate, and a customer uses 2 to 3 bags per visit, this equals about 2,000 to 3,000 bags per day used by that store. A mid-sized grocery store spends $10,000 to $15,000 annually, equating to over 500,000 plastic bags in a year. These plastics blow across parking lots, clog storm drains, jam recycling machinery, and end up in our waterways. Across the U.S., cleanup volunteers have collected nearly 3 million plastic bags from beaches, which is enough to cover 150 football fields.
Your time is actually up to speak, so just sum up real quickly.
Can I finish?
Yeah. Well, no, you can sum up in a sentence. How about that?
Okay. I would like to bring to you a brighter side of this. Bans have proven to work across the U.S., and I would like you to imagine how this could improve our beaches and in our communities. It's about protecting the communities we live in and supporting policy that limits the unchecked and unregulated litter produced that affects our businesses. This is about safeguarding our beaches, our wildlife, our food, and most importantly, our health for our that our future generations will inherit. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman to my left.
Yeah, Mike Abels in East Walpole.
Pardon me,
Yeah,
if people could...
Excuse me?
You kind of drowned them out with that, so
I'm
go
all
ahead.
for the environment, and you never see any nips anymore on the ground, which is great, but how often do you see bags floating around or in our water? You don't see that. And there's a whole bag of recycling, and that's why it's because people are recycling them. This is a big imposition on any of the stores, takeout, DoorDash, or any of these people who use plastic bags. What's the alternative? You're going to use paper and cut more trees down? I mean, if you come up with a good alternative, fine, but I don't see what the alternative is. So, think about that. We do away with plastic bags, and what do we do now? So, just my thought.
Yeah, I don't think so. Thank you. So, I think we're not going to have props. If you wish to speak, certainly go ahead. Please do.
Well,
it's just it's a huge distraction, and we're getting late in the evening. Thank you.
I will refer to my prop, if I may. Amanda Cobb, Precinct 3, and as many of you know, I'm a member of the Recycling Committee and a volunteer at Recycling. As many of you know, I'm a member of the Recycling Committee and a volunteer at the Recycling Center, and my prop, my disallowed prop, represents 1 day of plastic bag collections. We have a collection through the Trex company that makes decks, and we return the bags to them in exchange for items that they make out of them. Basically, I'm just going to cut right to the chase. So, sparing you any PowerPoints or pictures, if you need to see why we need a ban on plastic bag, I suggest that you take a drive down to the parking lot behind Walmart, behind Aspen Dental, Chipotle, and Starbucks on Toby Road, which is a hotbed of plastic bag and other trash. And the Don't Trash Wareham and Keep Wareham Beautiful volunteers cleaned up that area a couple of weeks ago, and it's already a pit. And all I am saying is the recycling committee and related organizations wholeheartedly support the ban. It may not be a perfect solution. We are actually working on trying to get a grant for reusable bags, but it's a great place to start. And as they say, there is no such thing as a way when you throw something away.
You have 30 seconds left.
Okay, so I just want to thank you for supporting this article.
Thank you. Mrs. Slavin.
Thank you, Sandy Slavin, Precinct 3. I'm concerned about enforcement. Is this going to be next to our grocery cart article that's on our bylaw that we never seem to get enforced? I'm just concerned that somebody can get to walk into an establishment, inspect it, issue a ticket. I just don't know how that's going to happen. And I noticed they have fines, but they don't have a fine what the amounts are for the first, second, and third offense. There is nobody recycles or uses bags like I do. Ask Alan. I've got bags in every one of our cars. So whenever I go shopping, I always take my recycled bag with me. But I'm concerned about the enforcement. Can someone address how that will happen?
If there's anyone that wishes to answer the question, I don't actually see anyone rising to answer that. We'll take that as a rhetorical question. To answer the question only.
Yes, there can't really be any enforcement, just as there can't be with the NIPS ban. We're relying on people to enforce themselves. At this point, there is no plan for enforcement or fines, even though there may be something on the article that says fines.
Thank you.
We're just hoping that it self-enforces.
Thank you. Mrs. Hayes.
Annie Hayes, Farmers Lane. I'm a believer of education, and I think so many people don't realize that a plastic bag is an eyesore, yes, but it is disintegrating, as are other plastics in the environment, as are the coatings from UV on all the solar panels in Wareham, as are not degrading, but the silica particles, dust from strip mining is in the air. All of these things are able to combine. And when they combine at the nanoparticle, tiny, almost atomic level, they become far more toxic. So it's inconvenient to have the plastic bags removed for you, but what's far more inconvenient is having nanoparticles in mother's milk, in the blood-brain barrier, in the placenta. The science that's up to date is one that is informed by a new kind of photography that can see at the nanoparticle level. I cannot see that with our eyes. So we can see where this is. There's a great article in New England Medical, I guess, Journal of Medicine. And it's found in the carotid artery, the nanoparticles, and if a person is having a heart incident, they're four times more likely to have another if these nanoparticles are in their carotid artery, compared to people who don't have them. This is an enormous health hazard. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 18? Yes, please.
I'm an interloper from Bourne. I asked permission to speak. How do I do that?
Well,
I was told
I'm going to put that to the. I'm going to put that to the floor, especially since you identify yourself as an interloper.
Okay.
All those in favor of allowing. What's your name?
Hillary Green. I'm the deacon
all
at the
those
church.
in favor of allowing Hillary Green to speak, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. Nay. What did I ever do to you? Yeah. I think the nays have it. Thank you.
Madam Moderator, I can actually maybe answer the question that came up before. Back probably 3-4 years ago,
You have to speak more directly into the microphone, Mr. Slavin. You're answering.
Sorry, my back is acting up today.
Yeah.
Basically, 3 or 4 years ago, I sat down with the town council. I was getting tired of picking up nip bottles all over the place. I was one of the founding members of Don't Trash Wareham. And basically, it's really simple for enforcement. You write an article, you basically write it in such a way that nips at that time, we called miniatures, were not allowable to be sold in Wareham, even though some of the communities around us didn't do it. You can do the exact same thing in the bags if you really want to enforce it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 18? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to vote on the motion under Article 18, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority. Article 5. Is there a motion under Article 5?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded on the motion under Article 5. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 5? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor signify by stating aye. Any opposed signify by stating nay. The motion passes, and actually it is to receive reports. I don't think there are any. There are no reports, which I understand will be given. So the next article, Article 10. Is there a motion under Article 10?
I move that the town vote to appropriate $7,063,613 from the Water Pollution Control Facility enterprise revenues and $1,134,683 WPCF Betterment Revenue Betterment Reserves to defray WPCF direct costs, and that $997,500 as appropriated under Article 7 of the Spring 2026 Annual Town Meeting be used for WPCF indirect costs to fund the total fiscal year 2027 operation cost of the Water Pollution Control Facility Enterprise Fund.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 10. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 10? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote, which is a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote unanimously. Article 16. Is there a motion under Article 16?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 16. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 16? Yes,
Sandy
Mrs. Slavin.
Why are we doing this? Didn't we deleted some bylaws, now we're putting them back? Was my understanding that this eliminated Historic District Committee, and we're putting it back? What is it that we're specifically doing in Article 16?
Yeah, the intent was not to remove it originally, although it is by state law that you have this. You have to vote it in and have it on your own bylaws to have one, and this is making sure that we do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 16? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article 16. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote unanimously. Article 13. Is there a motion under Article 13?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded under Article 13. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Mrs. Slavin.
Yes, Sandy Slavin. I'm the treasurer of Community Preservation. I only got the right one. CPC. And this is a request by Neighborhood Works for $300,000 to support the Cranberry Manor Phase 2. There are several people here to give us a presentation on this article. Nicole Humphreys and Tim Doherty. Thank you, sorry. I request that they be given time. Thank you.
Thank you. So these are not Wareham registered voters, but I understand that they have some information that will be useful to the understanding of this article. Please state your name and go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sandy. My name's Noelle Humphreys, and I'm with NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. As you can see on the screen, we presented to the CPC for a request of CPC funds in the amount of $300,000 for the development of 40 units for seniors located at 2200 Cranberry Highway in Wareham, West Wareham. I'm not sure who has the screen, but if you could flip to the next, that'd be great. So just briefly, NeighborWorks Housing Solutions is a local nonprofit. We provide services in about 70 towns and communities in Massachusetts and southeastern Mass. We serve mixed income families, seniors, veterans, homeless, formerly homeless, and people with disabilities, and have developed over 1,000 apartments, and we've got about 450 in the pipeline. We also have over 200 units for seniors, 62 plus, that we own and manage. So could go forward on this slide. Thank you. Just to showcase, these are a few of the developments we've done recently. So up in the corner is the Lincoln School. We got our certificate of occupancy on that last year. It's 37 apartments for seniors, affordable at mixed income ranges. All one bedrooms. And then to the right is Maple on Franklin, which was another project we did in Holbrook. It was completed in 2024, and that's 72 apartments for seniors, affordable. The bottom is a house in Marshfield that we've renovated and is now 8 units for former veterans, or for veterans. This is just a brief project summary. For those of you who may be familiar, we own a 24-unit family apartment complex known as Cranberry Manor. That's at 2200 Cranberry Highway. It's a 5-acre site, so we're proposing to add these 40 units behind it. It's one building, 3 floors. It will be for seniors 62 and older. 16 units are at 30% AMI and 24 units at 60% AMI, so it's a mix of income restrictions. We'll have supportive services, including a resident service coordinator, on-site management, and a maintenance tech. And then to the right, you can see just some of the scope. So we are targeting passive house, which means that there will be many energy efficiencies and also solar panels on the roof. But a number of improvements to the site, not only to the new site, but to the project the property that's already there. and existing. The same property manager, which is Hall Keen, who manages the front, will manage the back, and will actually have a more robust management presence, adding this 40 units. Lots of common area space. And so just the final slide, I think, just shows a couple renderings. One is an aerial view where you can see Cranberry Manor up front, and then Cranberry 2 proposed in the rear. The building is shown down to the left. We've requested the CPA in the amount of $300,000, which represents just literally just a little over 1% of our total cost. We've leveraged a number of state and public and private sources for the project, and we're well underway, hoping to close by the fall and begin construction. So that's all I have, right?
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article
Madam Moderator,
13?
sorry,
Yes.
you never see us over here.
Oh, I always see you, Mr. Slavin.
No, you don't really. You're trying to
Please.
avoid it whenever you can. This particular project came before the Finance Committee, and we have a history of not funding for-profit organizations. Unfortunately, nobody bothered to tell anyone that this was for a nonprofit organization, so the initial discussions were kind of negative. I know from my time as a select board member, being over the property in that area, and they run an extremely good operation as far as an affordable housing thing. You know, as far as the apartments, et cetera, they keep a good the condition, everything is really well done, the place is clean. I don't remember anybody ever telling me that the police had to come over there and do anything. I would basically ask everybody to support this particular article.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 13? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article 13, which requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote unanimously. Article 8. Do I have a motion under Article 8?
Emergency Medical Services Budget. I move that the town vote to approve the amount of $1,619,680 for emergency medical services salary and wages account, $327,500 for the EMS general expense account, and further to authorize a sum of money in estimated receipts of the emergency medical services account to be used to offset said appropriation in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 4, Section 53E.
Chapter 44.
I'm sorry?
Chapter 44.
Chapter 44.
Second.
Chapter 44, Section 53. Is that your motion? Thank you. Is there a second on the motion?
Yes.
A motion made and seconded under on Article 8. We have the report and recommendation of the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action 500.
We have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 8? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote. Requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote unanimously. We're approaching the hour of 10 and anticipating that by my count, we have 2 articles left, so I'll entertain if... So I have a motion to go beyond the hour of 10 to the conclusion of the article, to the conclusion of the articles. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by stating nay. The ayes have it unanimously. Article 15. Is there a motion under Article 15?
Delivery of town meeting warrant. I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 15. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
The Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 15? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article 15. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously on a voice vote. So I have Article 14 as our last article. Article 14. Is there a motion under Article 14?
Beaver Dam Creek Conservation Project. I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 14. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board voted to recommend favorable action 500.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 4-0.
And I will recognize Mrs. Slavin from the CPC.
Thank you. There's a presentation. There was a handout when you came in, and it identified why we have a Beaver Dam Creek Conservation Project. We're trying to take about 98 acres of property out of agriculture, cranberry bogs, and restore it to the natural flow of the water. To do that, we have to purchase this land. And we're looking for $700,000 from Community Preservation Act funds. And that's why we're here for, looking for this permission to spend the money. CPC, Community Preservation Act, we have the funds, and why not save the land? One of the things, I have to put another hat on. Sewer Commissioner, yes, we want to get the nitrogen out of the system, turn these bogs into natural landscape, and reduce the amount of nitrogen flowing into our watershed. I'm also the chair of chair of Conservation Commission. I get it confused. So this is another good reason to try to save our land. And what you have here is you go down Route 6 on the way to Marion, you'll see bogs on both sides of the road just past Cremisa. This is the land we're talking about, the man bogs. They will continue to manage these bogs and produce them for maybe 2 or 3 years before we can get the full plan from Buzzards Bay Coalition for the restoration. So there will be some continuing harvesting of cranberries for a couple years. I know it's late. I will take any questions. Did I forget anything? I got it all? Okay, I sorry. Anything else?
Is there anyone that have you concluded?
Madam Moderator.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
My turn.
Yeah. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard? Yes, Mr. Slavin, I see you over there. Go ahead.
Just give everybody a heads up. I will be sleeping in the garage tonight. My issues have been for a long time now that we keep conserving land everywhere to a point that it inhibits the town's ability for economic growth as far as developing certain land and stuff. Now, this particular project here, my real issue is they could be up to 5 years before these bogs start to get torn down. In the meantime, they're generating funds, etc. I would much rather see this project come back to us as ready to go. The idea of someone taking money in this project and having the ability to go 5 years and make money, etc., it's just, I'm adverse to it completely. It just doesn't work for me. Thank you.
May I respond, please?
So, I think as a petitioner, you do have a little bit of time left.
Yes. The project, they're buying, Buzzards Bay Coalition is buying this property for just over $1 million, $700,000 from CPC, but the land was appraised at $1.4 million. The delta between that $400,000 will allow the landowner to continue to harvest his cranberry. That's why they're not paying for the full appraised price of the property. So there will be some continuing harvesting going on for a couple years. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would? No, we don't want the back and forth. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 14? Yes, Mrs. Hayes.
Yeah, Annie Hayes. I would say that destroying Wareham's beautiful natural environment as it has been destroyed in the last decade is what is in great part impeding the economic growth. It used to be a very beautiful, beautiful town, and it's just getting bitten away. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 14?
I was just going to ask a quick question. Who's buying the land? The Buzzards Bay?
If, to answer the question only?
To answer the question, Buzzards Bay Coalition will buy the land, and the town will get a conservation restriction on the property.
How come the town doesn't just buy it?
Well,
why do we need it?
So,
we are buying it.
If there's an answer to that question, it seems more rhetorical than a question, but...
I will mention...
Yes, please.
I don't want to pay to bring it back to nature and get all the bogs taken out to really bring it back. We don't have those funds.
I see.
So.
I imagine that was the two no votes in the Finance Committee. That's why that split, basically. Yeah.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion under Article 14? This is a real estate acquisition, so it requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article 14, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. I declare that it's passed by 2/3 voice vote. We've concluded all the articles. I will entertain a motion to dissolve the annual town meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to dissolve the annual town meeting. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by stating nay. Yay. Thank you very much for attending.